everybody, it's Mike DeLisio with another Dice Tower Daily Unboxing. Today, we're going to be taking a look at a game that I'm just going to come right on out and say it. I am very, very excited about. This is Burncycle, coming from Chip Theory Games. I actually had a chance to play a game of this at Dice Tower West, and so I have a little bit of a background, but this is a massive, massive box, if you can tell here. And so I feel like I maybe didn't even see the tip of the iceberg here. So let's take a look inside the box and see what we can see in this game for 1 to 4 players, about 45 minutes per player. This is a Kickstarter pledge, and so I'm going to be showing you this base box. I'm going to be showing you an expansion, another expansion, and I'm going to be showing you finally some brass mag miniatures. All right, so let's just start here with this base box, which is a large box. If you are familiar with Chip Theory Games, you'll know that their kind of product line is one that centers around a lot of neoprene mats and a lot of poker style chips, and it looks like we're going to be having the same thing here. Hundreds of years in the future, tyrannical human corporations rule over Earth, hunting down and eliminating sentient robots who dare to resist. A small group of multiple bots, called the 404th, has banded together to strike back, hoping to overthrow robot-kind's oppressors and regain the code that was stolen from them. The bots' best chance for success is a strategic coding protocol called a Burncycle, which allows them to sabotage, spy, and steal from the corporations without the use of their stolen higher functions. All right, so cooperative game where you are playing some renegade robots that are fighting against your oppressive human controllers. All right, so here we go. Opening up the box, you can see we already have some art on the inside of the box. We've got a whole bunch of stuff here. So we've got a drawstring bag. All right, simple enough. We've got a few books here. All right, so we've got our floor plan book, our rules reference, and our learn to play. And so this is something that we've been seeing a bit more, where you've got kind of multiple books here, all right? And so this is the learn to play, which has a note from the publisher there. It's got an introduction to the lore of the game. And it says this is not a traditional rule book. Rather, it is a learn to play that presents the flow of the game and teaches the basics of how to play Burncycle. The first time you play, we recommend that you read this book from start to finish, working through the accompanying tutorial as you do so. This will walk you through some of the early decision points of setup and gameplay, allowing you to learn hands-on how the mechanics that are depicted in the book work in the game. Whenever we're about to discuss a rule that relies on a new game concept, you will see a blue box that explains the basics of that concept. You'll also find some green boxes throughout that generally contain helpful reminders and suggestions. The tutorial itself is in the orange boxes. So a color-coded system that we'll kind of see throughout here. Here's our list of components. All right, here is the game setup. And again, orange are the actual tutorials. It goes through a number of the fine points of the game. This is really, again, just kind of walking you through, teaching you the basics of the game, learning as you're doing. All right, so fair amount happening here. As you can see, the flow of the game, it's broken into rounds. And on a player's turn, they take these following steps. Route power, build your dice pool, take actions, navigate the network, route power again, and degrade the burn cycle. And it goes into details about all of those different aspects of the game. All righty. General actions, the network, moving your IP. All right. Then it talks about the corporation's turn, which consists of 3 steps performed in this order: security unit activation, ping activation, and threat advancement. It goes into more detail about each of those. All right, and then it talks about the end of the round, rebooting the burn cycle. All right. So this is kind of, again, walking you through it. It's an interactive tutorial. Then you've got the rules reference guide here. So after you've kind of learned that, if there are specific things that you need to use, you'd come in here. This book consolidates all the rules of Burncycle in a format that's easy to reference. So again, they're telling you if you were playing it for the first time to use the learn to play. But after you've played it and now you need to refer to something, this is where you'd come to this book and get that information. All right? Then this is going to be setting up the different scenarios of the game, dependent upon player count and difficulty and things along those lines. Shows you how to lay out the board, which rooms to put out, things along those lines. All right, so there are the books. Let's look at some of the components. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Let's look at our player boards, so to speak. You'll be slotting a card underneath here when you're choosing your particular bot, but these are the actual mats that you're going to be placing pegs in to allocate your power, and if you're going to get advanced or elite dice, you would track that here. Dice you'll be placing here, chips, places to allocate for different powers and things along those lines. These are all the same, just in the different player colors. We also have another set of neoprene mats. So this is the Burncycle. Rooms, different rooms that you'd be placing out. Here's the lobby, the assembly, the break room. Again, I'm not going to go through all these, but you can see there's a large number of different rooms here that will be used to set up your boards. We've got our plastic pips here that would be going into your player boards, like I showed you here, into these little holes. You'd be placing these pips based on player color. These are going to be placed onto the mat boards themselves. All right, let's take a look here. We've got some glass beads. Different colored glass beads, very lovely. All right, so here we see some of the different kind of scenarios here. Operation terminal viscosity. The length of the game, 1 floor. The complexity, 1. And then it's going to show you what you do for mission setup, any special rules that are there. And there are a bunch of these. You can see this is a 1 floor, which is going to determine essentially the length of the game. And this is a much higher complexity. A longer one, 2 floors, but still a low complexity. 2 floors, medium complexity. 3 floors, medium complexity. So you can see there's a number of different scenarios here that are going to set up change the way the game is set up, change some of the rules to the game, things along those lines. A whole bunch of those. Then we can see ringleader, hacker, comms, the different robots you can play as, with different abilities and powers. All right. And then you can see some of the other these aren't player boards. These are, I believe these are the baddies you're facing. I'm not positive about that. I've only played it once, so I'm not anywhere close to an expert here. All right, a whole bunch of chips. I'm not going to unpackage all of them, but I will unpackage one kind of set here so you can kind of see. These are heavy-duty chips. If you've played Too Many Bones or Cloudspire, these are kind of like the thicker ones. There are some thinner chips and some thicker ones. These are the thicker, heavy-duty chips. You can kind of see. All right. Anyway, you can get an idea here. There's a whole bunch of chips, which is and they all spilled. See, you try to do things in a calm and measured way, and this is what happens. It all falls apart. That's all right. These chips are sturdy. Nothing's happening there. All right, let's take a look here. I can see where the flap is, but for some reason, there we go. All right, so kind of like the tracker of the game. I think it maybe is threat tracking. I'm not sure what the terminology is, but as it moves down, it's going to kind of change what's happening throughout the game. And if it gets to the bottom, you fail your mission. All right, these are double-sided. All right. We've got more chips here. Okay. We've got dice. Even more dice down there. But let's look at some of these custom D6s, which if you've played any chip theory games before, these are going to look somewhat familiar to you. Just picking out some here. All right, you can just see these are all custom D6s, and there's a whole lot of them. We've got cards, some minis. These are keypad cards. Trying to open up doors and such. You can see these keypads. All right. This is actually an entire plastic card tray that you bring out during gameplay. You can just put that out and it tells you right inside there which cards go with what. The network cards there, the terminal cards there. You know, the keypad cards go there. So that's really nice. It helps organizationally. Again, I am not going to open up all these cards. This is already going to be a longer than normal unboxing. But you'll get at least a little taste for this. If I can get them to cooperate with me. Here we go. So these are the network cards, as you can see on the back there. Okay. Simple iconography, a little bit of text. There is some flavor text there at the bottom. All right. Again, that could just come right out during gameplay. There. We've got don't remember what the actual is. This the network mat maybe, where you're going to have pegs going out. The player pegs are going from the outside towards the center. The corporations are going from the center moving outward, and if they ever match, if they ever meet, then you're going to compare strengths. Okay, so that is what I'm going to call the network board. Apologies again if I don't have the terminology exactly correct. All right, that's going to slot right in there. And a much bigger mat. Which is going to be kind of the central play area where you will, double-sided, place those other rooms onto it. All right. So plenty of those neoprene mats that you might expect from a chip theory game. Plenty of the chips that you might expect. And a fair number of dice as well. All right, so this is the kind of the main components here. I'm trying to remember. I think that was like that. Yeah, that makes sense. And we had these in here. And I will end up putting those chips that I so carelessly were strewn across the floor. All right, we've got a couple of little expansions here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these, but we're going to take a look. This is a new corporation, the Biofend Corporation, a focus on heavily armed guards. So we'll take a quick look at these. A little bit of spot UV on the cover there. There you go. I can kind of catch that. We've got some custom dice. We've got some chips. Okay. Cards. Some new rooms, a control room here, R&D, some new cards, new threat board. All right. And then we also have the Specialists expansion, which is a small box, as you can see, compared to the others there. Every heist needs a specialist, and with the Specialists Bot Pack expansion, you'll be getting 4 of them. Featuring the Acrobat, Gyro, Procurer Subroutine, Driver Servo, and Decoy Expert Firewall. All right. Playable as a group or mixed in with other Burncycle bots. No additional rules required. So you just have some specialists here. Struggling to get it out, but I got it. The new player boards. Always cool to have more bots. Along with their chips. All right. And then finally, what is probably going to be very exciting to many people, and myself included, is these brass mag miniatures, which, again, are an expansion. They don't come with the base box. You saw kind of what comes with the base box. This is going to be a way to really heighten the immersion for the game, because now your characters, instead of just being chips, are going to be these brass mags. So these are quite impressive. I can't quite explain how heavy they are, how thick and chunky they are. So let's just take, since I have these out already, let's find, they've got their names on here so you can see who's who. Let's see, I see Subroutine right here. All right, so there's Subroutine. There's Subroutine's chip. See how he just snaps on there? It's a magnetic. All right, and so now when you're going across the map, instead of just having this chip to represent you, you've got your brass mag there. Very cool. You also have the guards that are much more kind of impressive pieces, but they are very tricky to get out here. And now I'm struggling to get one out while I'm on camera. See, that's always the danger. There's one. Okay. But I want to show you one of these because they are very impressive. All right. And again, these are very heavy, thick, magnetic. All right. So those are the brass mags, which, again, not necessary to play the game, but certainly do heighten the wow factor of a game that already has a whole lot of wow just in the base box. That is Burncycle. Thank you for watching another Dice Tower Daily Unboxing.